Hello, hello, blessed people. How are you? I hope all is well. My name is Christine, and I am your Zen Wellness Godmama and founder and creator of Zen Wellness Space. And I'm so happy to be with you all today. I'm kind of in my Zen space, in my Zen corner. And I felt that I would just give some reflections of what has been coming up for me this eclipse season and maybe pull some cards and have fun. As your Zen Wellness Mama, it's really my goal and I really strive to empower you to tap into your magic, to tap into your purpose, to tap into your soul, to tap into your own personal Zen space. And the way that I empower you by kind of showing what I do with my spiritual practices and how I show up every day in human design. I'm a manifesting generator 3-6, which is that martyr and role model. So through my practices and through my life experiences and what I've experienced, I hope to empower you to tap into your intuition, to create the Zen space in your heart and in your life. And yeah, so let's get into it, shall we? I noticed that I always start my videos without introducing myself and my platform and why I'm even here today. So thought I'd pop that in today. But let's get into the juicy stuff, shall we? I have my tea here. Let's get into some tea time, shall we? So eclipse season. What are eclipses? What are they about? And what's been kind of going on for me, and what should you look for in this season, or look at or reflect back on in this season. So eclipses really indicate a start to something or an ending of something. I heard a really good analogy of eclipses kind of being like that water in a toilet bowl. It'll kind of bring up and like swirl around and like chaotic all the things that kind of need to be brought up or that we need to focus our eyes on, and we'll kind of see it in this kind of like swirl of things and indications that are happening in our life. And it's meant for us to see all of those things, bring them up to the surface so that we can deal with them and flesh out what we need to flesh out, release what we need to release, and set intentions on what we want to do moving forward. So I probably didn't explain that the best, but as with everything I say, first off, let me start by saying that I am not an astrologer. I like to call myself your girl from around the way that studies astrology. And again, with my 3-6 kind of being that martyr and role model, I'm kind of just showing you what's popped up for me so that you can dive deep and it can spark something into your intuition so you can look deeper into your chart and explore more for you. So with that being said, explore what eclipses are. Look into your chart to see what eclipses are. And this is a good time to reflect back to see what beginnings and what endings were happening in the part of your chart where the eclipses are happening. And so for me, the lunar eclipse, which we just had, I believe last week or maybe a week ago, I don't have the exact date, but I'll make sure I link it below. But the lunar eclipse, yes, was happening in my 9th house of higher learning, education, philosophy, and all of that. The solar eclipse, which is coming up very soon, is happening in my 4th house of home. So I took back and I looked back and I really encourage you to do that. So in your chart, when you pull up your natal chart, and your natal chart is basically a picture of the sky when you were born, look at your natal chart and to see where the eclipses are happening. So for the lunar eclipse, looked at where it happened in your chart, and for the solar eclipse, look at where the moon is going to be. I believe it is Saturday, so December 4th will be the last kind of solar eclipse in Sagittarius, I believe. Again, look at your chart, do your own research. I'm just sharing what's kind of been brought up from me during this time. So going back to the lunar eclipse and what was brought up for me last week around my 9th house in education, higher learning, philosophy, travel, law, expansion, journeying. These past couple of months, I've really been diving deep into my roots and my religion. I grew up very Christian, very Baptist Christian, went to Catholic schools or private schools all of my life. My grandma, when she immigrated from Haiti to the States, the whole family became Christian, Catholic, acclimated into Western society. Hence, I was a child of that, a product of that. So I've really been these past couple of months, past couple of years, unlearning some of those practices and philosophies that were around that, and still kind of embodying some of those and keeping that. That's why in one of those practices that I've really been tapping into that I really resonate with right now is hoodoo. And hoodoo is basically, from my understanding, is spiritual practices of African Americans. And it's kind of like, you could say, the witches, the black witches. So we basically use the elements that were provided to us, or my ancestors or people who practice hoodoo are root workers. They work with the elements of the earth, with the elements that were provided them to create magic, to create intention, to, do rituals. And so I've really been studying that and diving deep into that. Hoodoo as well as voodoo, knowing that I come from Haitian lineage, and really exploring what our practices were, what our spiritual practices were before we came to the States. My family in particular, again, 9th house energy, my ancestry, 9th house energy, my philosophy or our philosophy, our ancestry, because again, this past eclipse happened on the Taurus Scorpio axis, and where Scorpio was in my 4th house. And so with that being said, that's my foundation, that's my roots, that's my lineage, that's my my parents, all of that. So seeing how those kind of play off of each other has been transformational for me. It's really brought up, like, again, thinking of that toilet bowl analogy, a lot of things for me in order to process, to figure out what I want to leave behind, what I want to keep as I head into this next phase of my life. So eclipse season is, from my understanding, not the best time to do rituals like candle magic, manifesting, all of this. It's really a time to dive deep, to reflect back. For me personally, I've been doing a lot of journaling. I am in the thick of shadow work, doing a lot of shadow work, a lot of reflection, a lot of tuning out to tune in to myself. And Scorpio season really helped me out with that, to really look at the different things that were ending. We're in fall, we're seeing the leaves kind of fall from the tree. There's this like energy of dark, gloomy transition, and it's really, really a beautiful time. If you think about it, it's really, really a beautiful time. There is divine in the darkness. I read that quote recently. There's so much medicine and goodness in the dark, and this is the perfect time to explore that, to really tap into what I've been hiding in the dark and what I haven't been what I've kept hidden from the outside world. And a lot of that was my curiosity of these different practices of hoodoo and voodoo, and not being scared to do that. I would sometimes be scared, and in my family, growing up, I know we were scared to say that we were from Haiti, or it was well, I won't say we, but certain people in my family were scared to say that they were from Haiti because of the negative connotation around voodoo and what that meant, you know. If I mentioned that I was Haitian, people would say, "Oh, you do voodoo? Oh, you do like you gonna put a curse on me and stuff." So I didn't want to be associated with that. I wanted to only exude positivity, and I resonated voodoo with only darkness, and darkness, the way the culture likes to say, darkness is bad, dark magic is bad. But no, in actuality, when studying about this, so much light, so much good positive energy, like with anything, right? With religion, there's some bad things that happen, okay? With voodoo, there's some beautiful things that happen. There's duality in everything. And so really coming to that, understanding that, and figuring out with that toilet bowl analogy during this eclipse season, what is being brought up, what do I want to keep, and what do I want to flush, what shit do I want to flush down the toilet, okay? Basically. So with the upcoming solar eclipse with the new moon that we are having on December 4th, it is the end of the eclipse in Sagittarius cycle, which started June 5th, 2020. And this happened in my house of home, parents, my fourth house. So that's the house of parents, roots. You think about, I really think about, I resonate, or I correlate the fourth house with the root chakra, parents, foundation, stability, my home, inner security, how I nurture. It's ruled by Cancer. So that motherly archetype, how I nurture my community, how I nurture my family, how I nurture my home. I recently got this beautiful plant that's thriving right now. You can't see that beautiful flower. It's a Barbados lily, I believe. But I've really just like really been cultivating this beautiful space within my home as I'm doing my rituals, as I'm doing my magic, as I'm doing my good juju, really being intentional about the home that I'm creating in my physical space, in my emotional space, in my personal space. So with that being said, and I will list the dates below of the past Sagittarius eclipses, but it started June 5th, 2020. What comes to mind when we think of June 5th, 2020? Black Lives Matter. The social uprising all around the world, around the injustices that we as Black people face because of, this was after, the George Floyd, what happened with George Floyd and all the protests and uprising around that. I can't remember if that was the blackout day or the 6th was the blackout day or the 2nd. I can't remember, but it was around that time, okay? And eclipses, the day that it happens, we feel the effects 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after, and 6 months prior and before. So the energy is all around, right? So when really thinking about the energy that was surrounding, again, my roots and my home, Black Lives Matter. I'm blacker than blackity, black. So, and I am all for social justice. I fight for the little people. I fight for a marginalized community. So needless to say, your girl was out and about all the protests within my organization. I challenged all of my leaders, all of my company, everybody. What's your stand on this? Do you really think that Black Lives Matter? Show me, prove it. So I was really active in that. Again, because I know justice was due for my people and we have been unjustly treated for the longest time. And I was tired. We all was tired, and we were taking our tiredness to the street and demanding action around it. So that was June 5th, 2020. So look back at your chart, see what happened for you around that time during June 5th, 2020. The next one, for me personally as well, a beautiful, I won't share that right now, but some other things happened during that time. And in December 14th, 2020, look at your chart and see what themes, again, what house was the moon in? Again, for me, the moon, June 14th, the solar eclipse, was in Sagittarius, was in my fourth house of home. So in my fourth house of home, around this time, I was doing my Embolden, and I believe the doors are open for Embolden. So if you're interested in that, I'll make sure that I leave the information in the bio. If you're watching this in the future, I'll leave Jessica Moy's website. But I took this Embolden program. It helped me find my voice, I'll say that. But with that being said, it was an amazing program. I love Jess with Embodied Impact and Scale Your Impact and all that she's doing over there. So if you have a chance, check her out. She's doing amazing, life-changing work. So I took this life-changing program of Embolden, and we did an embodiment story medicine circle. And after we did all of the things in the circle, we were laid down in like a yoga nidra state, and we did a kind of like a meditation. And in the meditation, we were asked to connect with our guides. And in this beautiful meditation, I literally saw my dad, who passed when I was 16, who I've always had a close connection with. Always felt his presence around, but in this meditation, I got to see him. And he told me that he has always been with me. He literally reached out his hand to me and brought me in the circle with all of my ancestors. I saw all of the ancestors, all of my guides. I couldn't see their faces, you know, in detail, but I felt their presence. And he held his hand and he's like, we've always been with you. We have your back. They told me that they are preparing me for something. And so that happened in December of 2020. And so that was obviously with my dealing with my roots and my foundation. They're preparing me, laying the foundation for what they feel and what I know is my soul calling on this earth. So that was something beautiful that happened for me. In May of 2021, so May 26th, 2021, again, another solar eclipse in Sagittarius was happening in my fourth house of home. And when I look back and see what kind of came up for me around that, I realized that I really was doing work, really coming into astrology and really understanding astrology, understanding my chart. And May 26th was around my 33rd birthday, which is the spiritual teacher in numerology. 33 is like that spiritual teacher. So, and from my understanding, the 33rd year is kind of a consequence of what happened in your solar return, or what was happening in your solar return. So during my solar return, when I was like around age 30, it was when Zen Wellness Space was created, actually. And when around the time where I had my daughter. And so the consequences, and looking back on the foundation, on the home that I've built within this Zen Wellness Space, within my home, within my family, the beautiful family that way I have now, I was seeing the consequences of that. My daughter is growing up. Our home and our family is such a beautiful space when it wasn't at the time. Postpartum depression, new parents, new state, new everything. And so it was really a difficult time, but seeing the beauty from my understanding, from my spiritual teachings, from what I've been able to teach myself from the start of my solar return to now, just really seeing the consequences of that. It was just a beautiful, beautiful reflection that I wrote down and through my journal. So with all this said, why do I know all this stuff? Because I've journaled. Do you want to see? I got journals, ideas, notebooks for days. Okay, I write down everything, and I highly encourage you all to do that as well, so that when these do come up, you can see and reflect on where you were. If journaling's not your thing, take pictures, you know, look back in your memories, in your archives, your pictures, conversations that you might have had, all of that. It's so important to document in whatever way you see fit, so that you are able to fully reflect. And so now we're coming up on December 4th of 2020. This is the last kind of solar eclipse cycle. This is going to tell us something about the whole solar eclipse and what's been happening and what we've been going through and what's been coming up for me in this house, and what's been kind of surrounding me in this fourth house of home, family, foundations, nurture, and how I nurture. And a lot of I won't go into I just went into the personal things, but a lot of business things were happening for me in this time. Obviously, just to go into the business and work things of what's been happening in December 4th. I'm just gonna pull some cards here while I speak to see what Spirit has for us. And as I said that, I'll just go ahead and start. And bear with me, everybody. This is a new channel to me. This is a new thing that I'm exploring. So we're all figuring it out as you go. Please put what you like, what you don't like. Email me, reach out to me. Let me know if these are helpful, if they're not. We're all learning as we're going. But as I was saying that, and as I was talking about documenting, the card popped out, learn from life. So before I tap into what's been happening for me around my house of work, just really reiterating, do you see all of the books, all of the journals, all of the things that they have from them? Just a reminder to write down, to read, to learn from life. Now that I've learned and I've been able to reflect back on all that I have learned and has gone on with me during these past cycles, I'm able to leave, to hop on my broom, to go ahead down the path that I know that I've been led, which my guides and my ancestors asked me to go on. So I just thought that was beautiful. We can learn from life. There's scrolls, there's books, you know. She's ready. Y'all, you see this hand? Do you see this hand? That's the hand I was talking about. Who's calling out to you right now? Who's reaching? We're in Sagittarius season. Sagittarius is all about the traveler, the explorer, ready to go out. So what you've learned from this past eclipse, what you've studied, what you've reflected back on, where is it taking you? If you think about the symbol of the Sagittarius, it's the arrow. Where is that arrow leading you? What direction is it leading you? From this information and what I've gained, I understand where it's leading me now. I understand what I need to do, what I need to roll. That's why I'm here right now, sharing my experiences and sharing my practices, because I know that's where it's led me. I know that's the direction where I'm going. I have my sun, my Mercury, my Midhaven, all in the 10th house of public roles, which tells me that I need to be sharing publicly what's going on in my life. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm here to do. So learn from life, and we can do that by documenting and reflecting and putting our arrows and using that information to set us into the direction where we need to go. So back to what's kind of been going on in my work life. So in December, I actually received a promotion in my full-time job. I work a full-time job, and I actually received a promotion around that. And it was exactly what I needed. I was not in a good place where I was in my current role, and it was exactly what I needed. And I got that. Why? Because I was able to surrender. I was looking for other jobs. I was upset. I was ready to leave. I was so unhappy. But God said, you know, Spirit said, there's work to be done. I know you're not happy, but let me put you in a role where you can do more work, where you can accomplish more things and be fulfilled and be happy. And that's exactly what he did. So that happened in December. When I was looking back, that was around that time, the eclipse happened December 14th. I got the news 2 days later that I received the promotion. Huge increase in my salary, huge increase in my responsibilities and my roles for health equity, which is all I'm about and all I'm for. So it was such a blessing, a blessing, a blessing, a blessing that was really in disguise because I didn't want to be there, but there was work to be done. So the 26th, in terms of work and my work roles, what was happening, major shifts that was happening, I took a course on a profitable content creator lab so that I'm able to monetize and help more people with the content that I'm producing. I also started opening up my books and accepting clients and doing reading for clients, and really, really helped me and empower me to see that, yeah, girl, you're on the right track. You're made for this. You're doing it. Keep on doing what you're doing. And I also did client interviews to see who my ideal client was and making sure that my content that I'm giving out is in line with that. So all interesting stuff, all interesting stuff. So with all of that being said, let's pull some cards, shall we, and see what Spirit has for us in this time. So in terms, again, and we think about Sagittarius season, we want to, again, the broomstick or the Ariel, what direction is all of the information that you're learning from, what direction is it bringing to you? Where is the arrow pointing? I know for me, it's pointing in the direction of being a community leader and a healer for not only myself, for my family line, for my lineage, for my future generations, and for my community and my tribe in general. So really, that is what's coming up. And yeah, so around this, two cards kind of popped up, and this is kind of in the feminine side of things. The past, it was to the left of the card. Y'all, my left and my right, so I'm always getting confused to this day. My mom still gets on me about that. But so with that feminine energy in our past, I'm seeing a lot of turmoil, a lot of uneasiness, not really understanding what's going on. But that arrow, journaling and really tapping into our astrology, really tapping into what we're learning from, right? What we're learning with these books, really understanding our charts, our natal charts, our human design, all of those different modalities, whatever modality speaks to you. Maybe it's the Bible, really tapping into that and finding the gems that you need is really on this path as you set your arrow during Sagittarius season. You set your dreams, your affirmation to the direction where you need to go. It's really leaving behind that chaos that was in our past. We're getting understanding. We're learning from life, from our documentation. We're learning, we're taking notes, and now we're being elevated, we're being high. We have luck on our side, the 7, the seeker, right? You see these dice. We have luck on our side. We have spirit around us telling us that, they're here, they're guiding us, we're protected. We have a companion, so we're not in this alone. So that's in the card of this is affirmation of acceptance. So really accepting what has happened in the past. If some of those things that happened for you was not good, they were from a lesson. They were a lesson that we needed to learn. We needed to learn so that we can use that information to kind of go towards our next path, to our next duration. Because why? Everything happens for a reason, baby. Everything is fated. Everything is fated. Everything happens for a reason. So we just need to learn those lessons. Because the future, the masculine energy, what we're going to do about it, we felt all the feels, we know where we are currently, we need to head our area in a new direction. And where is that area, where is that direction taking us? We're growing. We're growing. We're doing the work, okay? So many people want to get here, want to plant seeds, want to manifest, but we can't do any of that without doing the work, without processing, learning from, really understanding the things from our past. We can't do that, and we can't head in this direction until we do the work. And once we do the work, we are able to set that solid, good soil. We're able to fertilize good soil, have good soil, so that when we do manifest, it's not manifested in unclear soils or unclear waters or turbulent waters, which is what eclipse season is right now. It's, you know, kind of like that shadowy, you know, we're uncertain, unclear. We really need to be diving deep and getting into the faded messages and what we're learning, so that when it is time to manifest, we have good, solid soil to lay our seeds of manifestation down. In order to reap the harvest, the beautiful harvest. It may not be big, right? Because it's still growing. We're going to pot it. We're going to reap our harvest and continue to grow, plant it in another place, and it's going to continue to grow. But through this, we're able to, again, realize where we've come from, learn from it, realize that it's faded, point our arrow in the direction to affirmation of growth, to growing, to knowing what we need to do, getting our hands dirty, reaping the benefits of all that we have learned during this time. So I think that's beautiful. I think I'm just gonna leave it there. Just pull one, let me see, I feel like maybe 2 cards, angel cards for us right now. And of course, okay, so 3 cards popped up. Again, we're just following fairy, and it's so aligned. So when we're thinking about the past and looking at the things that the toilet bowls of eclipse season has brought up for us in this season, when we're taking inventory of it, looking and reflecting and making note of it, we need to make sure that we hold with us forgiveness and understanding. The angel of forgiveness and understanding, recognizing whatever we did in our past, forgive ourselves for it. I know for me, I needed to forgive myself a lot for not showing up, for not speaking up when I know I needed to, forgiving myself for everything, understanding that I was not in the right place, understanding that now I'm empowered. Now is the time where I need to show up, where I need to share my message authentically. Before it wasn't, and I forgive myself for that, right? So what do you need to forgive yourself for? The past, forgive it now. And the angel of forgiveness and understanding is here to help us with that. When we're thinking about learning from our life and heading our arrow, the Sagittarius arrow of adventure, exploration, optimism, when we're heading there, what do we need to think about? Y'all, I can't make this shit up. Mother, Father, God. Do y'all see the hands? There is a direction. There is a calling that is out there for us. We need to be able to recognize and to realize what that is, because something is out there reaching for us, calling for us. Father, Mother, God. Are we recognizing it? Are we learning from our life to heed the calling, to be able to reach out and to grab that hand? I feel called to read the book on this. So let's see what Father, Mother, God has to say. Oh, Mother, Father, God. Mother, Father, God. Okay, you are connected to the power of creation at this time. Your spiritual parent is involving in you, and their incredible love is filling you with divine energy and inspiration and moving you forward. That hand, this card is a message directly from the heart of God, and it's telling you that you're significant and precious. You are loved beyond measure, and the creator power is proud of you. You are being encouraged to have faith and know that anything is possible for you. No matter what you're going through, no matter what has happened, you are always connected to source and creation. Your angel guide is encouraging you to remember this now. So no matter where we go through, no matter what direction we're heading, remember that Mother, Father, God is always there for us, is always guiding us. And because we've looked at the past and dealt with it and reconciling with it and forgiving ourselves for it, they are blessing us. They are blessing us. And what are they blessing us with, my friend? Transformation. I love to see this card, transformation. We love to see it. We love a good transformation moment. Why? Because we love the transformative circle. We love a good transformation circle moment. I am the co-host of the Transformational Circle podcast. The Transformative Circle podcast. It's been so long. We're coming back, y'all. We're coming back. 2022. We're coming back. We've taken a little bit of a break, but the Transformative Circle podcast is where me and my co-host Amanda talk about all of these things, spiritual transformation that is in our lives. But anyway, that is where our journey and Mother, Father, God, where that hand is leading us into transformation of growth. We're growing, y'all. We're growing. And the transformation is happening for us now. We accept it. We listen to the call and we learn from the past, accept it, forgive ourselves for all the things as we head into this next direction. So as you're heading into this next direction, I'm sending you lots of love, lots of blessings. Remember that Mother, Father, God is there with you. Remember to forgive and to understand yourself from the past so that you are able to transform and plant seeds of growth for your community, for yourself, for your lineage, for your future, for everyone, for the good of all humanity. I hope this resonated. Hope you got something out of it. Let me know below. Feel free to reach out to me. And I love you all so much.